Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Run. Welcome to another Friday training session. Normally on a Friday, I take you through some of the workouts available on Zwift Run. So we do something like intervals. Let me just change this camera back again. I don't want you seeing what I've already done. Okay. Normally, we do intervals or something like that on a Friday. But on Sunday evening, this coming Sunday evening, or is it morning? Sunday morning at 11:30, 11 o'clock. I'll get it right in a minute. Sunday morning, 11 o'clock UK time. It's a great start, isn't it? Sunday morning, 11 o'clock UK time. We are running Zwift's Half Marathon Community Challenge. So the Half Marathon Community Challenge, 11 o'clock in the morning, UK time. So that's 6 a.m. Eastern time if you're over in the States. I know some of you in the States like to get up early to do your runs. So 6 a.m. Eastern. And we're going to do half marathon. So I thought, well, why not do a half marathon tonight and talk you through some of the things you need to be thinking about when you do a half marathon. That is in your training beforehand, but also on Sunday when you're actually running the half marathon. How do you need to approach it? What do you need to do? So now we can change to the right screen. Hold on 2 seconds. Let me press this button. And then I'm going to press a button over here. Excuse me. Right. I am watching Facebook chat, so I'm just going to press this button here as well, so I can see what I'm doing. Hello, David. Hello, Stan. Hello, Jinxie. What else have we got? I am over at Facebook chat, so do come and say hello. Right, you can see on the screen, I have already spent 5 minutes running and I've done about 200 meters. I was walking just to make sure my machine was working. And I am running today on the Techno Gym My Run, which is connected directly via Bluetooth to Zwift. So no foot pods involved today. And you might notice that because it's unbelievably stable. It just doesn't move at all from the position that you set it in. So if I press a button here, we are going to get going and do a half marathon on Zwift. I'm looking at around about 2 hours, but we're not going to be too pernickety about it. Just gradually increase the pace. We'll get to a jog. So what do we need to do? We need to add on 200 meters to the end of a half marathon just to make sure I've done a half marathon when we get there. By all means, if you want to ask a question, go ahead. If you just want to see me suffer, sit there and enjoy it. Okay, let's get up a bit. Gentle jog. My avatar will start running when it gets to 6.7 miles an hour. That's what we think. Kilometers an hour. That's what we think. So let's give it a go. 6.3, 6.4, 6.5. It's good, this, isn't it? I don't have to do anything. I just press a little button and I know exactly what speed I'm doing. Hilarious. 6.6. Right, are we going to run? 6.7. 6.8. Yay! 6.8. Okay, so if we are going to run a half marathon in 2 hours, we need to be running at 10.5 kilometers an hour. Marginally over, but you know, because that will get us to 10.5 kilometers in an hour and 21 kilometers in 2 hours. So let's do it. 10.5 kilometers an hour. Here we go. Five. Right, that's my pace. I'm staying at this pace for 2 hours. And if I stay at this pace for 2 hours, we should complete 21 kilometers. I'm going to try and keep the heart rate nice and low. We do not want to be going too far into zone 4 if we can help it, but you never know. I've been sure to open all the doors and windows in the shed to get the air coming through. I could press that add a target and do a half marathon from there, but we started now. Let's not worry about it. What do you think? I don't know if you can do it whilst you're running. If you've not seen Zwift before, you may wonder what the heck I'm talking about. You look at the stats up there, top left, where it says heart rate 130, and just to the right of that there's a plus sign and it says add a target. If I was to click that, it would give me some options, and it probably has half marathon on there. You can click it and run a half marathon and it'll count down, count up or down, I don't know. Tim Gross says 6.8. What does that mean? Oh yeah, 6.8 when you start running. Yes. After 6.7. Yeah. Okay. Let's just settle into this now. You will find, and I apologise for this, you will find there will be periods that I don't talk an awful lot, just because I do want to try and maintain some level of heart rate. I find if I talk too much, my heart rate just goes through the roof, really. And half marathon is the kind of distance where you do need to just start being a bit careful about your heart rate and your endurance, and being able to. You can get away with it with a 5k or a 10k because you're totally knackered. You can just grind it through to the end, but when it gets to certain distances, you know, half marathon, marathon, you really need to be able to have it in your legs to complete the distance. Right, Karen says, I can add a goal anytime during a run. The question is, Karen, if I add a goal, yeah, well, I suppose I could, but would I stop running? Would I have to stop running? Should we just try it for a laugh? We're only in the first kilometre, aren't we? So I'll just press add a goal and see what happens. It'll come up with the screen, but will I stop running? Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it because I'm on a different computer. I've got two computers now. One is running the game and one is running my streaming software. And the keyboard and the mouse for the game, for Zwift, are over there. So I'd have to get off the treadmill to go and get them. So never mind. We won't worry about that now. Just get on with running. I'm not going to touch the direction controls either. Well, I can't. Oh, actually, I can do. I've got my phone, but I'm just going to leave it. Thanks, Karen. Karen says, enjoy my run. And she's quite right that often in these cases, a run of this distance can be more a mental challenge than a physical challenge. And especially, to be honest, on a treadmill. Without Zwift, running on a treadmill, running 2 hours to complete a half marathon on a treadmill might well be pretty boring, pretty mind-numbing, mentally very tough to complete actually. With Zwift it makes it a whole heap easier. Talking to you guys probably will help me as well. Listening to the music. I'm listening to the same music that you've got in the background there. So I'm listening to that. just seeing that little glitch there of my avatar. I'm also hoping the computer doesn't crash, because that's happened before, and that would be disappointing. But there's not a lot we can do about that. Both computers are hopefully perfectly capable of managing the load that they have. So, okay, so that first kilometre took me 22 minutes. Let's hope that's not repeated. Only 20k to go. Looking at Facebook chat, Amanda Murray says I've stolen her idea. Amanda will be leading your Group D on Sunday morning, on Sunday. And yesterday she decided to run a half marathon on Zwift just to check it out, see how it all went in preparation for Sunday. And that gave me the idea, and I thought, well, why don't I run a half marathon on Friday, and we can talk people through what to expect on Sunday. You'll notice I'm going up a hill, by the way. If you've not seen Zwift before, I can't feel that hill. There's no automatic incline controlled by Zwift. So I'm running on the flat. That may come in time. But at the moment, if you're running on Zwift, you won't feel the hills. Cyclists do, especially if they've got, well, most cyclists do, if they've got a smart trainer where Zwift can control the resistance when they go up a hill, they'll feel that in their legs. Welcome to Watopia, the imaginary island that Zwift created some 3 years ago now. Keeps being added to. We're currently waiting on the latest edition, which we think is going to be an enormous climb. Jane Russell says, how cool is that? Keep going. Thanks, Jane. Let's just get to 2 kilometres. So remember, I'd already run for 5 minutes, or walked for 5 minutes at the beginning of this. So we're currently about 11 minutes in to the run proper. And we've covered, it's just coming up to 2 kilometres because I walked very slowly, about 200 metres at the beginning of the session today. Thanks for the ride on, Georgie. If you see a big blue thumb drop down onto my head like that, that's Stan Hembrough. Thank you, Stan, for the ride on. That is a ride on. If you're familiar with Strava, a ride on in Zwift is very similar to Kudos in Strava. And Jinxie, thank you very much for the ride on, Jinxie. And Amanda, thank you, Amanda. Keeping the heart rate in zone 3 at the moment. Thank you as well. Couldn't see that one. Morris, was it? So, half marathons. Early on, so in the first, thanks Krista for the ride on. Early on, you need to feel very comfortable. So, see where my heart rate is at the moment. I've spent 4 minutes in zone 3. Current heart rate is 138. It goes up when I'm talking as well, so bear that in mind. But I would say you need to be able, mentally and physically, to feel that you are at a comfortable pace. It might be hard. It might be a hard pace. You might be gunning for a PB. But you need to feel that you're comfortable enough to hold the pace that you're doing for the next 12 miles. So in the early miles, first 2, 3, 4 miles even, just keep yourself checked over, make sure you're not panicking, make sure your heart rate is within check. So I mean, it might well be that you are in zone 4 from early on, but if that's your plan, if that's what you've trained for and if that's what you're keeping to, and you know you can do it, then fine. I know that my personal best half marathon, I was in zone 4 and zone 5 for most of the run. But it's important not to panic at the beginning. Certainly not to go off too fast. Number one rule above all others in long distance run, well, in any running, in any distance, do not go off too fast. And when you're in a big crowd, if you're in a big city half marathon, it's very, very tempting to get dragged along by everyone who's super keen and full of energy and what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, they just want to speed ahead with no thought whatsoever for how tired they're going to get themselves in the first 3 or 4 miles. I'm a big fan, and not everyone agrees with me, but I'm a big fan of even splits. So if you don't know what I mean by even splits, what I mean is staying at the same pace for the entire run. And if it's a flat run, so you're not climbing any hills, or minimal hills, I would like to see every kilometre tick by in almost exactly the same time. So in this case, we are doing, it looks like 5:43 per kilometre. And that's what we want to maintain comfortably for the entire run. So I've got somebody joined me. Who's this? Somebody from Try 70.3 BRT from Greece, is it? Chatsakis, Try 70.3. Thanks very much, buddy. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming along with me. Anybody else near their treadmill at home wants to jump on, by all means, come and join me. We're doing 21 kilometres, a half marathon this evening. It's going to take 2 hours. We've been running for 17, 18 minutes now. The clock is slightly wrong because my session started on Zwift 5 minutes beforehand, so the timing is a bit wrong. The distance is almost right. We're now at about 3 kilometres because I'd walked about 200 metres. Stan is asking, on Sunday, when we do the half marathon, will there be a later run? Yes, Stan, there will. There is one at 5:30 British summertime. It's a bit confusing because the clocks change in the UK on Saturday night, Sunday morning, I think. So I've been getting confused with GMT, UTC and BST, British Summertime. So whatever the time is in the UK, when it's 5:30 in the UK on Sunday, there will be another half marathon. I won't be running that, but I will try and come online, stream it and commentate. And I'm going to run the one in the morning at 11 o'clock UK time. Right, Alan, was it you that gave me a ride on earlier? Thank you. Alan says, will I be fully recovered in time to run another half marathon on Sunday? Because recovery is high on Alan's list of things to think about. Well, put it this way, I wouldn't recommend, if you have an A race half marathon on Sunday or any day, I would not recommend doing a half marathon 2 days before, even a gentle one. However, I'm fairly experienced. I've run a lot of runs. 13 miles for me, without wanting to sound big-headed, but it's impossible really, isn't it? It just does. Sounds horrible, but I can do 13 miles fairly comfortably at this pace and probably do that again on Sunday. I mean, we'll see, won't we? But I would imagine I'll be okay. Now, if I was banging this one out and trying to do it in an hour and a half, that'd be a different matter. And I'm almost certainly wouldn't be. I mean, it depends what you mean by recovered. I will be able to run it on Sunday. If I was to try this at an hour and a half and then run again on Sunday, I'd be a lot more tired. My legs would be hurting a lot more. And it's certainly not a recommended thing to do by any stretch. Oh, what have I gone off? Excuse me a second, my computer seems to be playing as though I've gone off. There we are, 368, yeah, we're all right. Guys, can you just tell me if you can still see me, because my computer's not showing the stream, so I don't know whether I'm on or not. If you can hear me, or if you can't hear me. Oh, what's happened to the stream? Anyone still see me on Facebook, guys? Let me know where we're at. Hopefully we're still there. Oh. I'm gonna have to stop, aren't I? Just stop and check. If you're watching the stream, just let me know whether you can still see and hear me, because I can't. Okay, so I'm still on Twitch. Okay. So I'm still streaming from my end. It seems to be a problem with Facebook for some reason. Thanks, Georgie, for letting me know about Twitch. If anyone else is watching on Twitch, hi guys. I'm just going to keep going and hope the stream comes back. Let me know on Facebook, guys, if you can hear and see me, just to make sure the stream is still running. I know that the stream is still running from my end. I know that people on YouTube and Twitch can see me, but I don't know about the Facebook feed. I don't know whether that's gone down or not for some reason. Okay, Tim says I went, but now I'm back. It's all okay at my end, but I think there was a bit of a problem with the Zwift stream from their end. We're all right here, guys. Also, just to let you know, if Facebook ever does go down, Zwift does stream live on the Zwift Community Live channel on YouTube and the Zwift Community Live channel on Twitch. So if you ever have a problem looking at a live stream from Facebook, you can go over to YouTube and you can go over to Twitch and you can see the same stream there. So we are 4.5 kilometers in. We're running at a very nice and steady 10.5 kilometers per hour, and if we're running a half marathon, that should get us to half marathon stage in 2 hours. The only thing to point out is the timer, which says 31 minutes, is incorrect because I'd already been online for 5 minutes before I started running, so that's slightly out. So if when that timer reaches 2 hours and 5 minutes, I should just be finishing, because we are going to keep the pace exactly the same all the way through, and that's what I'd recommend for anyone at almost any distance on a flat course. Certainly half marathons, well, 5k, 10k, half marathon, marathon. If you can, choose a realistic pace, train to that pace, and run that pace during the race. You need to be confident, because it's very easy to panic. Say you want to do a half marathon in 2 hours, and you hit halfway in 1 hour, it's very easy to panic and think, I'm never going to do the second half at the same speed. But you can do it. As long as you've chosen a realistic target, a realistic pace, and you have done the training. You'll hear a lot of people talking about negative splits. So that's, for instance, if you did the first half of your half marathon in an hour and you did the second half quicker. That's great. If you can do that, amazing. But safer, I think, to try and keep even splits all the way through. If you want to sprint the last kilometre, if you can, then great. Sarah Brandis says this is a fun idea. It is, Sarah. It's amazing. You know, so many of us hate running on the treadmill, but running on Zwift makes it so much more enjoyable. And I know I'm running kind of on my own. I've got Chatsakis with me. He's from Greece. You can see his name just below mine on the right hand side of the screen, and he's just behind me on the road there. But I'm kind of running on my own. But we do organise a lot of group activities. So group runs, you know, often we have 10, 20 people, 30 people. We have a maximum of 60 odd people, I think, in group runs on Zwift. So it's also a very social experience. Jinxie thinks we had a convenience stop. I can assure you we kept running the whole way through. It's on YouTube and Twitch, so you'll know. Malcolm is saying, how's the new treadmill? Let's talk about the new treadmill for a minute or two. Just get my breath for 1 second. So this is a new treadmill to me. It's not my treadmill. I have it on loan from a company called Technogym. Technogym makes some pretty amazing treadmills. And if you are from the UK, well, in fact, anywhere in the world, you will have heard of Harrods department store. So where do you go if you want to buy a Technogym treadmill? You go to Harrods. That's how expensive and posh they are. This one that I'm running on is called the My Run. And honestly, guys, although it's very expensive, it's right at the bottom of their product line. It's about, if you wanted to buy a new one, £3,500 UK money. What's that? $6,000 US. I think you can get deals on them for about 3,250 or something like that, but it's around that. They've been around for a couple of years, but there's recently been a firmware update to the My Run, which means that it can communicate to Zwift by Bluetooth. So I feel like it's a weird thing because I feel like I'm having an easy time of it in a way. I feel like I'm having to do less work because the treadmill has set the pace. All I have to do is I have to put my finger on this lever here, down here, push it once and it will go up. On the treadmill reading is 10.5, on Zwift it's 10.5. Push it once, 10.6, 10.6, push it down again, 10.5. That's it. It's crazy. Crazy easy. and open to abuse as well. Because I could get off this treadmill now. I could go and have a cup of tea. The treadmill keeps going. My runner keeps going. I kind of don't like that. I know this is a very easy way to connect to Zwift, and it's fantastic, and I kind of love it, but also something just sits a little bit uncomfortable with me about the fact that what's being measured is the speed of the belt, and actually it's nothing to do with what I'm doing. Whereas if I've got a foot pod, the foot pod is measuring the actual real speed of my foot and my pace, my cadence. And if I stopped running, if my physical body stopped running, my virtual body would stop running. Can you see that? Does that make sense? In that it feels a bit weird. Oh, and Casey says they should let me keep it. Do you know what? I would love it. Yeah, I mean, if I could in any way keep this, I would, but it does have to go back. I have to do a review, and part of the review is this kind of thing. So live running, talking about the treadmill, talking about how it works and its features and what I like and what I don't like about it. But I'm also going to do a proper YouTube review and kind of look a bit more in depth into it. So that will be up and coming in the next month or two, once I've had a chance to really work with the treadmill. But first impressions, I absolutely love it. Many of you who watch the stream regularly will know that I have had some treadmill issues, and particularly when I got the Stride foot pod, because before that I'd been using the Garmin foot pod, and I hadn't really trusted the pace of the belt on my treadmill, so I was using my watch to calibrate my foot pod to Zwift. And when I got my Stride foot pod, I noticed that the Stride was giving me a much slower reading, and I didn't believe it. And I went through all sorts of shenanigans testing with Tim and talked to a lot of people. We came to a bit of a conclusion. Not a massively satisfactory conclusion, but a conclusion nonetheless, that on the cheaper treadmills, and cheaper, blimey, that's a funny camera angle. I'm upside down. Help! Oh, that's all right. Back now. That was scary. We came to the conclusion that on the cheaper treadmills, so anything £1,000 and under, honestly, the motor turning the belt of your treadmill is simply not strong enough to cope with your foot landing on it. And when your foot lands on it, it slows down. So, in a way, I mean, you don't actually have any speed, do you? Because you're not moving any. I'm standing in a shed. I'm not moving, so I have no real speed. But my reported speed on the treadmill was incorrect because of the slowdown of the belt. That said, the effort required was just as much, if not more. So it felt really difficult. So although the Stride foot pod was measuring correctly, it's also not measuring accurately in terms of the effort that you're putting into your run. Because the effort you're putting in was like you were going at 10 kilometers an hour, but the Stride would report 8 kilometers an hour or 8.5 kilometers an hour, much slower, even though it still felt like you were going at 10. So, all the treadmills I've had up to now have had that issue. From the minute I stood on the Techno Gym My Run, those issues went away. And the Stride will report, although I'm not using it tonight, the Stride will report 10.5 kilometers an hour, the same as the treadmill, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, it means that anyone who's got a home grade treadmill, you know, with a motor that's less than 4 horsepower, 4 continuous horsepower, or, you know, costing less than £1,000 UK money, will find that the Stride probably doesn't report correctly for them. That was a long ramble and I hope it made some sense to you. That's interesting. Tim says at his gym the treadmill stops if you get on it. So we're going to try that now. I'm going to cheat and I'm going to go for 10 meters not on the treadmill and see if it stops. We'll see if we keep going. Are we ready, folks? I'm going to jump off the treadmill. We're going to see if it keeps going. 1, 2, 3, go! Treadmill is still going. I am still running. I'm cheating. Guys, I am cheating at half marathon running. I've got to run another 10 or 20 meters to make up for that. My treadmill keeps going when I get off it. So, if you see me on Zwift in the next few weeks running 100 kilometers at 15 kilometers an hour, you may want to report me. I may have gone and had a cup of tea and a sleep whilst allowing my avatar to rack up XP points on Zwift. Okay, we're going to the volcano. If you've never seen Zwift before, there are lots of different areas of this imaginary island we call Watopia, and one of them is a volcano. So we're just crossing the estuary now, along with a number of cyclists, to get to the volcano that's in front of us, and we'll probably run right through the middle of the volcano, which is very exciting. And behind you can see there a mountain. We can climb that mountain as well if we want to. Take another check on the heart rate. Top left. It's 26 minutes now in zone 3. That's yellow in the middle. So tempo zone. Normally we call that tempo zone. The orange zone we call threshold zone. And the red zone we call anaerobic zone. Not aerobic, anaerobic. You are breaking down muscle tissue when you run in the red zone. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because once you've finished, you eat lots of protein and that tissue rebuilds stronger. But yeah, and green zone is endurance zone and blue zone is recovery zone, something like that. I mean, some different platforms, Strava, Garmin Connect, Moves Count, they might all call them slightly different things, but generally that's what you call them. So we're running a half marathon, so I'm doing it as an endurance run, as a slow run. So that means I don't want to go into orange zone, certainly don't want to go into red zone. I want to keep it nice and steady if we can. Amanda's come to join me. Hello, Amanda. Way. You ran a half marathon yesterday, Amanda. You can't do another half marathon today. Good to see you, Amanda. Amanda will be leading on Sunday. On Sunday we are running the inaugural Zwift Half Marathon Community Challenge, which is why I'm doing this tonight, just to get you prepared, get you mentally set up to run the Zwift Community Half Marathon Community Challenge. Is that what it's called? Yes. 11 AM UK time on Sunday. 11 AM UK time on Sunday, we will be running on Zwift a half marathon, a group run, and Amanda will be leading Group D. There are only two groups, Group B and Group D. I will be leading Group B. Group B will be going for a 2-hour marathon, 2-hour half marathon. 2-hour marathon would be good. For a 2-hour half marathon. Amanda will be leading Group D. They will be going for a 2.5-hour half marathon. If you feel you'd like to join, download or go into the Zwift Companion app. So not the main Zwift app, but the Companion app, which is a blue app. Look for the events module, filter for runs, and you will see 11 AM on Sunday. This is 11 AM British Summer Time. You'll find the Zwift Community Half Marathon Challenge. Sign up for that. Join us in Group B or Group D to run a half marathon in a group. Keep it as social as possible. Keep it as comfortable as possible and enjoy ourselves for 2 hours, 2.5 hours on Sunday morning. If that time doesn't suit you, there is another one. It won't have group leaders, but the one at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. We'll run again, the Zwift Community Half Marathon Challenge at 5 o'clock on Sunday. Is a rerun of the 11 o'clock. So we're well into it now. We are well into it, but we're still in the first half. You should be settled. You should be in whatever zone you want to stay in for most of the run. So if you're going to be in zone 2, zone 3 or zone 4, I don't recommend that you run an entire half marathon in zone 5. It'd be interesting to see what some runners do manage, but I think you'll find that it would probably be very detrimental to run the entire thing in zone 5, and I don't think you probably could. Zone 4, that's threshold zone, so you're really at your max, almost at your max, really pushing hard. Zone 3, like me, working, but comfortable. And zone 2, you'd probably be taking walking breaks maybe, or you're just doing it really nice and easy. But by this stage of the run, 8 kilometers in now, you need to be settled. You need to be aware that you're working hard, but confident that you can keep it going. You might want to be starting to take on something, water if it's a hot day outside, or on Sunday if you've got no air going through wherever you're running on the treadmill. Do keep yourself hydrated, don't overdrink, never overdrink. Often, there's been a big movement talking about you must drink. And I don't really subscribe to this, really, talking about like, oh, you've got to take X millimeters of water every 15 minutes or something. I hesitate to say a load of rubbish, but I don't subscribe to it. Drink to thirst. You're thirsty, you drink. You don't overdrink, you don't glug down 500 mils of water, you sip. You sip 50 mils, 10 mils, 50 mils of water, and then you go and carry on. So my advice is drink to thirst. You'll notice I'm not going to be drinking or eating anything. today, but that's because I can do it. That's because I've trained, I run these distances all the time. So my body is used to burning fat and managing to be mildly dehydrated during the run. There is no evidence to suggest that being partially dehydrated during a run will affect your performance really badly. Yes, full on dehydration, obviously, but if you drink to thirst, you won't get dehydrated. If you're thirsty, that's your body's way of telling you you want a drink, so drink. If you don't feel thirsty, don't drink just because your watch beeps and it's telling you it's time to drink. That's not going to help you. You'll just become waterlogged. Great book, by the way. Look up a book called Waterlogged. I forget the doctor's name now. Somebody will remind me on Facebook. Kenneth says I'm English. I saw a comment from Kenneth from earlier. Runners in the US are very keen on their hydration, and I dare to say on their supplements, taking their salt tablets and all sorts of business, and their calorie count. And you know, if it works for you, great. I don't want to stop you doing something that works for you. But I have to say, I'm not a fan of supplements. I'm a fan of a balanced diet and, you know, getting the electrolytes that you need from your food. Your body will survive perfectly well for 2 hours without taking a load of supplements. If you've eaten well beforehand and you eat well afterwards, no problem. I'm also not a fan of gels. If you like gels, if you can stomach gels, if you don't know what a gel is a quick and easy way to get a load of sugar in you. It's a liquefied, kind of gloopy substance, a gel, but it's just full of sugar. Hello, Ellis. My son's come to join me. Don't come too near, because you can come and say hello if you want. You wave to that camera. Just wave to that camera. No. This way, Ellis. It won't see you. This way. Come back. Just a bit closer. And then look up there and see if you can see anybody. Okay. Go back in and see Mummy now. Good lad. Apologies about that. He does like he actually ran on the treadmill this morning. He does like a run, getting the kids into the running. Let's keep an eye on this. Yes, so I am in Facebook chat, guys. If you want to watch Facebook chat, if you want to ask me a question, I am here to answer half marathon questions about nutrition, about pacing, about hydration, about training. If you are new here, if you've never seen Zwift before, or if you are running the Zwift Half Marathon Community Challenge on Sunday and you've got some questions, fire them away at me, by all means. Anne Sloan is waving at me. Oh no, you're waving at my son. I'll tell him you waved, Anne. Kenneth says, a cup of tea and a biscuit and you're ready to climb Mount Everest. Absolutely. Just give me a warm coat and I'll just burn fat on the way up, Ken. I'll be fine. Jinxie says, what do I do if I'm in between groups? Jinxie, run at the slower group. If you want to run, I would say, the thing is, this run on Sunday is a social event. So I'm sure some people will speed off, but the idea is to try and keep the group together as much as possible. If the B group is too fast for you, you're not going to be able to stay with them. So don't run with the B group. Run with the D group, It might be slower, but you know, if you're training, slow runs are really, really important. And you can class that Sunday 13 miles at the pace of Group D, so a 2.5 hour half marathon is a really good long run to build your endurance. It's about time on your feet. If you're training for a spring marathon or even a faster half marathon, 13 miles in 2.5 hours will do you the world of good. Honestly, if it's too slow for you, doesn't matter. It will be in the run will be in your legs, and the effort will be in your heart, and the time will be in your head. So I would go for Group D and just enjoy yourself. Kenneth is telling me to run faster. No. I am running at 10.5 kilometers an hour for the entire run, because that will get me in even splits. Look at every kilometre there from 2 kilometres onwards is 5:43 per kilometre. That is partly because my amazing new treadmill, well, it's not new, it's new to me. My amazing treadmill is doing the pace for me. So it's sticking at 10.5. It is sending Bluetooth signal via my phone to Zwift, and Zwift is sticking exactly to pace. So you can guarantee that if I was using a foot pod, there's no way, well, it'd be much harder for me to get 5:43 for every single kilometre. But that's the plan anyway. Miguel says saludo. Thank you, Miguel. I know that you have messaged me, and I apologise for not having got back to you sooner. I'm sorry. So okay, we're gonna start having an across the pond spat now. Tim is asking Ken, what do you take for a half marathon? If you were going to run a half marathon, Ken, what would you take before, during and after? Start with, do during. Tell us what you take during your run. So, we are approaching halfway. We're not there yet. We've got a kilometre to run. I need to be at 10.7 kilometres, because if you were here at the start, you will know that I'd already walked 200 metres and spent 5 minutes doing that before I actually started this half marathon. So we've been going for 55 minutes, and we're about a kilometre away from halfway, and we've managed to stay in zone 3. So my heart, see I'm right on a heart. Look, I'm showing you. This is my Garmin HRM Run heart rate monitor. That is sending the data to Zwift. Let's see if I can. Oh, no, it won't work because I don't want to. I was going to take it off to see if it dropped the heart rate, but I don't want to risk that. I'm just trying to prove to you that it is what it says it is, but you believe me, don't you? So that heart rate monitor is sending data to Zwift. So you can see I've spent currently 41 minutes in zone 3, and I'm trying not to go into zone 4. I mean, we might get into zone 4 a little later on for a little bit, but I really don't want to get into zone 4 very much at all, if at all. Okay, that's interesting. So Kenneth says, and this is a very interesting point, he takes a couple of gels during the run, but not actually necessarily to fuel the run, but for recovery afterwards. And it is important that when you finish a run, particularly an endurance run, so from 10k up to marathon distance and beyond, to eat food to replace everything that you've lost during the run. And they being whoever they are, it is suggested that you eat, well, 45 minutes, at least before 45 minutes after you finish the run, because your body is primed then to use what it ingests in the most efficient way possible. So you want to take in some carbohydrates, you want to take in some fats, you want to take in some protein. The protein will help rebuild the muscle that you've broken down during your run, especially if you've run in anaerobic zone. In your heart rate, you will have broken, you're micro tearing in your muscles. It will have broken down muscle tissue. The protein is the building blocks of those muscles. So you need to take that back in to replenish it. Obviously, when you're running, you'll burn fat and you'll burn carbohydrate and you'll lose electrolytes. So you need to replace all that. You don't necessarily need to replace it during the run, depending on how long the run is. But certainly, within 45 minutes after you've finished the run, you should be eating something sensible. Wow. Okay, Kenneth, new respect, mate. 3 Kona Ironman triathlons. Very impressive. I have to say, and I have to admit to you, Ken, that I DNF'd my one and only attempt at an Ironman. It was technical issues, but nevertheless, it was a DNF. I have yet to complete an Ironman. I've done a couple of halves and plenty of Olympic distance, but never finished an Ironman. So, and if you've done Kona 3 times, big respect. If you don't know what Kona is, well, Kona is the mecca for long distance triathlon. It's where triathlon started back in the 70s. 1978 was it? Somewhere around then was the very first. We are halfway, by the way, and look at that, 1:05 exactly. So we are bang on for a 2-hour half marathon. So yes, 1978, something like that, was the first triathlon, and it was always the Ironman distance. But thanks for the ride, Chris. All the other distances have developed since then, the shorter distances. Okay, Nick Doubleton wins the prize for the best comment today. His wife, he says his wife did a half marathon and she had 2.5 bottles of Prosecco as a recovery drink afterwards. Good for her. Fantastic. I love it. Okay, having said we were bang on, actually we weren't quite bang on, were we? Because 10.7 was my halfway, wasn't it? Because I had 200 on the clock already. So we may have to speed up but we won't do it yet. Worst comes to worst, if need be, we can speed up towards the end, bang out a couple of quick kilometres just to make sure we get in under 2 hours. But the maths doesn't lie. If you're running at 10.5 kilometres an hour, if you do 10.5 kilometres in 1 hour and you do 10.5 kilometres the next hour, that is 21 kilometres. And a half marathon is just a few metres over 21 kilometres. Oh, Anne, that would have been nice if you could have joined us. And Amanda's disappeared. Amanda run with me for a few minutes. So I'm on my own at the moment, not far off 11 kilometers. So in a minute we'll have 10k to go. Just taking it nice and easy, staying in zone 3. Miguel's saying, does anybody else want to accompany me for a few kilometers? More than welcome, guys. If you are near a treadmill, if you do want to come and say hi, by all means, come and say hi. Come and run with me for a kilometre, 2 kilometres, whatever you like. But remember, we are doing the Zwift Half Marathon Community Challenge on Sunday at 11 AM UK time. So that's the time to join. That's the one to join. Come and download the Zwift Companion app. And on there you will find the events module. Click into the events module and search for Sunday's runs. And you'll see the half marathon listed there. Sign up for that, guys. Come and run. I'll be doing exactly the same. On Sunday, I'll be running at 10.5 kilometers an hour for the entire run. I will have a yellow beacon over my head because I'll be the run leader. I will be streaming, hopefully streaming on this channel, Zwift Run. And I'll be more than happy to have all of you along. It'd be great. Have a real social event, 2 hours of running. Be fantastic. And you'll have a newfound appreciation of your treadmill. You will, I promise you. We are 10 kilometers left, guys. 10 kilometers to do. So, halfway through a half marathon, again, give yourself a check over. How are you feeling? Have you got any stomach issues? How's your heart rate? How are your legs feeling? You should be feeling it by now. Should be tiring, but still able to keep the same pace. If you've trained properly and you have selected a sensible goal finish time relative to your training, then you should still be feeling able to maintain pace even though you are starting to tire. You can feel the aching a bit more in your legs now. Perhaps your heart rate is starting to go up a bit more. This is the time, if you're in a big city half marathon, or a big city marathon if you're halfway through a marathon, this is the time the crowd can often help you and the runners around you can drag you along. So sit with a group, maybe get in with a pack. If you're running a half marathon or a marathon with pacers, a lot of the big runs these days, they have a pacer. They carry a big flag on their back or a balloon or a particular coloured t-shirt, and you can follow those. In some ways that takes the pressure off, so you can run with them. They can drag you along a bit. You've got a bit of a draft effect, and that will help you. And it's at this stage of your half marathon or your marathon or whatever long run you're doing, halfway through, just over halfway through, it starts to bite, starts to hurt a little bit, and you just need that extra push, and you need the mental stamina to say, I've got this, I can do this, let's go. So we've done 50 minutes in zone 3, and thankfully so far we've not ventured into zone 4. Treadmill is nice and steady at 10.5k per hour. We've almost done 12 kilometers. We've got just over 9k to go. Miguel's saying tomorrow he's running a half marathon and they're recommending you to take gels. Well, Miguel, I wouldn't take gels unless you've trained with gels. Gels are one of those things, if you're not used to them, they can turn your stomach, they can make your stomach very poorly. So, unless you've trained and have taken gels before, unless you know what they're like, unless you know that they sit well on your stomach, that you won't get any gastric problems, any stomach problems, then don't take them. Take something else, take whatever else you have used in training. So who's this coming up behind me? Georgie! Hi Georgie, thanks for joining me. Come along buddy, catch me up. This is the beauty of Zwift. You can be watching 1 minute, you can be joining in the next. How do you do that? Well, you would log on to Zwift, and when you log on to Zwift as a runner, you will be presented with a screen, and the screen will say run with, and then it will give you a list of names of people who are already running on Zwift. And you can click on that person's name and you'll join them on their run. So that's what Georgie's done. He's logged onto Zwift, he's clicked on my name and he has appeared just behind me and is now running with me. You do have to be prepared though, because when you click on the name you need to start running on the treadmill immediately, because if you don't, you appear beside me and then I suddenly disappear off and you haven't started running, and you'll have to speed to catch me up. So we're doing well, enjoying ourselves. 1 hour 10 minutes of running so far. 12 kilometers done. 8 more to go. 9 more to go, sorry. Yeah, Kenneth, nothing new on race day, buddy. The old adage. Although I have to say, I'm beginning to put trainers, running shoes. I'm beginning to see that I can actually run in brand new shoes, because these days shoes are so well made. They don't need, you know, in the old days you used to have to break in shoes, but you find these days you don't have to break in shoes at all. And I did a 100-mile race a couple of months ago, last month, with brand new trainers on, and they were absolutely beautiful all the way around. Although having said that, it was a model of shoe that I know, so I probably wouldn't wear a new pair of running shoes that were a new make for me. The make that I wore, I had worn a pair of those before. I knew they were good. I enjoy wearing them. So if you're, Alan says he's doing a 100-mile bike ride on Sunday, and then you're thinking of doing the half marathon, That'd be impressive. There we are, me and Georgie running together. He looks more muscular than me, doesn't he? He looks better than I do. So I want to keep it comfortable, keep it settled. I've got an itch on my leg. Scratch. So we're coming into the Italian village now. So we've been once around the volcano, and 80. Georgie says he's 88 kilos. Yeah, I can tell George there's a bit more meat on you than me. I'm a bit more I was gonna say lean, skinny, whereas you've got a bit more manly muscle on you. Yeah, so this part of Watopia, we're coming up to one of the earliest parts of Watopia now. Watopia's been around for 3 years as a virtual world that we run in, and that 3 years ago started with just one loop, a nearly, not quite 10-kilometre loop around the island, and since then they've added the volcano, they've added the flat and underwater sections, they've added the mountains, and they've added the Mayan jungle. And we are currently waiting the next big thing from Zwift, which we think is going to be Alpe d'Huez, the huge mountain. It's going to be a massive climb, and that section of Watopia is due to be released any time now. We are literally all on tenterhooks waiting for it to be released. Ken's off to enjoy fried chicken with his family. Good on you, Ken. Take care, buddy. Right, Tim has brought up a subject that is very close to my heart. Kilometres or miles. And Tim has just realised that a half marathon is essentially 2 10-kilometre runs and a 1 kilometre sprint at the end. Or you could have a 1 kilometre warm-up and then 2 10-kilometre sprints. That, for me, is a lot more easy to mentally break down than a half marathon. A half marathon seems like a long distance event. A half marathon seems like a slow thing to do. But a 10k run is fast. You think of a 10k as almost a speed event. So can you do 2 10k's back to back? 2 fast 10k's. If you can do 2 fast 10k's and a 1 kilometre sprint, then you'll do a faster half marathon than if you just look at it as a half marathon. Does that make sense? In the same way that a marathon is 26 miles. What an awful long way that sounds. You could break it down. A marathon could be 2 half marathons, but as we've already discovered, 2 lots of 13 miles. That's basically 2 long, slow runs. However, how about doing 4 10k runs and then a 2 kilometre sprint? Or a 2k warm-up and then 4 fast 10k runs? If you can mentally break it down like that, great way of running a marathon, great way of running a half marathon. Do your splits in 10k's. So either have your 2k at the beginning or the end, and then time each 10k, 4 lots of 10k. So do each 10k in an hour, or do each 10k in 55 minutes. So each 10k in 55 minutes, do 4 lots of 10k, 55 minutes each, and then sprint for all you're worth in that last 2k. And there's your 4-hour marathon. There's a sub 4-hour marathon for you right there. Oh, my headphone's fallen out. Good of Georgie to stay with me. Doing well. We've got 8.5k to go, and we are rocking and rolling on this half marathon. By now, you might want to take a gel. You might want to be taking some form of glycogen, some form of sugar, whether it's a drink of Coca-Cola at an aid station, or a gel, or a shot block, or a gummy bear, or a Jaffa cake. Jaffa cakes are good. You might want to take something like that to give you a little bit of a sugar boost. That'll get you the last 5 miles home. I know a lot of people who, when they run a half marathon, they'll eat very well beforehand, and they'll run the first 10 miles, say, and then they'll just take something to help them the last 3 or 4 miles, just to bash it out without losing glycogen in their legs. Glycogen is your energy, your fuel source for fast running, and the faster you go, the more glycogen you use, and the quicker you'll run out. So the quicker it needs to be replaced. The slower you go, the more your body will turn to burning fat. So at the moment, I would say I'm burning more fat than glycogen because of the pace that I'm going. Nearly, I would say probably just a bit more fat than glycogen. When I get solidly into zone 4, I'm starting to burn more glycogen than fat. And then in zone 5, well, you're ripping through the glycogen. You're not burning any fat at all, really. The differences are that fat generally takes longer to metabolize. So that's often why you find that in a marathon, you run out of fuel at the 20-mile point. It's called the wall. You hit the wall, or some people might know it as bonking. B-O-N-K, bonking. When you hit that wall, when you bonk, what that is your body running out of sugar, running out of glycogen. And it converts, the process converts to burning fat for fuel. But it takes longer to burn fat. So that's why you slow down, that's why you feel like death. So nutrition and fueling is a vital part of your long distance runs. But one thing that I do is I try and do a lot of running with no sugar and no food. And you know, there's a lot of arguments for and against this, and I'm happy to be proven wrong or to have evidence stacked up against me, but my feeling is that you can teach your body to burn. 1, 2, 1, 2. Back. Sorry about that. Right. I need to slow down again so I can change my camera view. Or should I just keep it on here? I don't know. Oh, I don't mind. Okay. 15 kilometers done, an hour and a half. So we need to do 6 more kilometers. And we've got, well, actually we haven't run for an hour and a half. It's only 1 hour and 26 minutes. So 6 kilometers to do in 35 minutes. I don't know where you got up to before the mic went, so do let me know if I was saying something of any vague importance that you want me to repeat. Keeping the heart rate nice and steady. 137. Hello, camera 2. Actually, it's quite. I'm looking at what I'm doing is I'm looking at the stream now rather than looking at Zwift, and it's quite interesting. So I might keep it at this. It was a bit disconcerting watching myself run, my real self, on the camera. Okay, so. Laura Cunningham has just told me that you lost my microphone. I think I bashed the microphone with my hand, and sometimes that sends it into a spiral of depression and it turns itself off. So yeah, teaching your body to burn fat. Let me start from, so if you're going really fast, you're burning a lot of glycogen, you're burning mostly glycogen, you're burning sugar. The slower you go, the more that process turns to fat burning. So you can go right down to endurance pace, really slow, and your body is mostly burning fat, still burning some glycogen. You'll always need to burn some glycogen. Your brain and your liver have to have sugar. But I think you can teach your body to burn fat more efficiently. The problem with fat is the metabolism process is slower. It takes a longer time for your body to metabolize fat, to burn it, to create fuel from it. Sugar is quick. So I don't know if you heard, when you get to 20 miles in a marathon and you bonk or you hit the wall, that's your body running out of sugar and switching the process to burn fat instead. But because it burns fat slower, you run slower, or you maintain the same pace but your heart rate goes up, and you're having to work a lot harder to maintain the same pace. But I think if you train yourself, if you do a lot of your runs, if you can, with nothing, so you maybe have breakfast in the morning or just a cup of coffee and then go out for your run. Don't do this every single time. And certainly the first few times you do it, it will not be pleasant. It won't be nice. But eventually you'll be able to go out longer and longer, taking less and less. And I think that's a good thing, because we fill ourselves with crap when we run. Sugary, gloopy products that are really not very healthy for us at all. We tell our kids not to have sugar, don't we? Not just because it'll ruin our teeth, but because sugar's a poison. It's not a healthy thing to be eating. Obesity is becoming more of a problem in the UK, as we know it is in America, and that is down to sugar. Not to mention rotting your teeth. So running is the same. We don't need all that stuff. If you have to eat something, you know, better it be something real. But for a lot of runs, you can do them without anything at all, and your body will burn its fat. You've got plenty of fat stores to last you miles and miles and miles of running. So we had a little glitch because the microphone went. I don't know how far that's put us off, but we are now just about at 16k. That's 10 miles of running. So we've run 10 miles, we've got 3.1 miles to go. That's 5k left. 5k left, and we've been running for 31 minutes. So we've got 29 minutes to do 5k, and then we've done our 2-hour marathon, 2-hour half marathon. What I would give to do a 2-hour marathon, that's never going to happen, is it? If anybody has watched the documentary Breaking 2, if you haven't watched it, I urge you to go and watch it. Amazing documentary. And while we're on the subject of documentaries, go and watch 2 films about a race that's happening this weekend called the Barkley Marathons. There's a film on Netflix called the Barkley Marathons, and there is a film by a chap called the Ginger Runner, Ethan Newbury, called Where Dreams Go to Die. 2 films about a race called it's called the Barkley Marathons. Bit of a strange name, but the Barkley Marathons is a 100-mile race, although it's known to be at least 130 miles. But he calls it a 100-mile race, and it's in Tennessee, and it's happening this weekend. You won't find any coverage of it on the TV, but it is one of the toughest marathons, the toughest races in the world, and you've got a time limit of 60 hours, and the race has been run since about 1986, and since 1986 there have only ever been 15 people who have finished the race. 15 people. So that shows you, since 1986, shows you how tough it is. Go and watch the Barkley Marathons on Netflix and Where Dreams Go to Die. And if you're on Twitter, hashtag BM100 will give you all the updates from that race this weekend. And I don't know where they'll be, but by the time we're running on Saturday, it will be well underway. So Saturday morning, guys, 11 a.m. Zwift Half Marathon Community Challenge. Do sign up. Sign up in the companion app. Download, if you haven't downloaded it already. It used to be called the Zwift Mobile Link. It's recently had an upgrade and a change of name, and it's now called the Zwift Companion app, and it will show you all the events that are available to run. Go into the events module in that app, click on the race that you'd like to run, and you will be entered for it. And it'll even give you a little reminder an hour or half an hour before to tell you that race is happening. And what you want is 11 a.m. GMT, no, 11 a.m. British Summer Time, whatever the UK time is, and I think it's 6 a.m. Eastern Time. 6 a.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. UK time, for a half marathon that will run at this pace. So 10.5 kilometers an hour. We will be doing a 2-hour half marathon. If that's a bit too fast for you, you could join Group D, where Amanda Morey will be running a 2.5-hour half marathon. So 2 groups to join, Group B and Group D. Half marathon in 2 hours or 2.5 hours on Sunday morning. We would absolutely love to see you there. It'd be fantastic. Great social event. We'll try all stick together. I'll be leading Group B. And yes, Alan Morris says just a park run to go now. Could do that in 20 minutes, couldn't we? Park run to go. Well done, Sarah. Sarah, Brandon says she's just signed up for Sunday. And she's desperately hoping the gym treadmill pairs up. Fingers crossed. If you can get there beforehand and just have a just check, maybe go tomorrow and just see if it pairs up, and then you can go back on Sunday confident that it will pair up, and if that's worth doing. Guys, it's good to see quite a few of you have stayed around to watch. Thank you very much for your support this evening. If you do have any questions, I'm still looking at Facebook chat, so just say hi or ask me anything you want, or just watch me suffer these last few kilometres. Just over 4 kilometres to go now, and we'll have done a half marathon in 2 hours round the beautiful island of Watopia. We're loving it. We love Zwift, and I'm still managing to keep my heart rate in zone 3. No need to go any faster, no need to overexert. If we've got another half marathon on Sunday, that means I've only got a day's recovery, and I need to do this again on Sunday, so I don't want to go blasting it out. I don't want to go too fast. And as I said earlier on in the stream, I am a big fan of even splits. So if I can run every kilometre the same, that's what I want to do, because I think that's the most efficient way to run distance. If you're running a hilly race, then obviously there's no way you can keep every single kilometre the same. But if you've got a watch on, if you can keep your average pace there or thereabouts the same, then that's a good thing. Or if you split the race down into eighths or quarters, so say you do 5 miles within a certain time, and then another 5 miles in exactly the same time, another 5 miles in exactly the same time, or like I was talking about marathons and splitting them up into kilometres instead of miles. So you do 4 lots of 10 kilometres and then a little 2 kilometre sprint at the end, just to get you in on time. But even splits, guys, whether it's each kilometre, each mile, every 5k or every 10k, keep it even. And then your body knows what it's doing then. You're not messing about. You're not telling your body to run quick and then run slow, and your heart rate's going up and then it's going down, and left and right and whatever. Your body is just steady, running the same pace, the same heart rate all the way. That's efficiency, and that means that more energy will be available for your body to use in running. Of course, I use all my energy in bloody talking. Anyway, if you weren't here at the beginning, I am running on a newish treadmill. This treadmill is the Techno Gym My Run, and I've got it to test for a few weeks, and initial impressions are that it is fantastic. I am feeling much more like I'm running at the gym on a really expensive £10,000 gym treadmill. I'm feeling a lot more like I'm running outside on proper ground. All the other treadmills I've had, including the brand new one I've got behind me here, they all feel hard work. They all feel like I'm working harder on the treadmill than I would do if I was running the same speed, the same pace outside. This is different. This feels proper. This feels like I'm running at the same pace and the same heart rate that I would outdoors. So that's the Techno Gym My Run. Go and look it up. It is not cheap, guys, I promise you. I'm sorry about that. If you're suddenly getting excited thinking that's the treadmill I'm going to get. This is, in UK money, it's about £3,500. What is that? That is about 6,000–7,000 US dollars. It's not a cheap treadmill, but I think probably you get what you pay for these days. And also, you know, I've got the Stride foot pod. That Stride foot pod, on every other treadmill I've used, has been reporting incorrectly as far as I'm concerned. On the Techno Gym My Run treadmill, it is bang on. No slowing down at all. It is the same speed as the treadmill. Okay, not far away now. If you are running a real half marathon, it will be hurting now, but this is where your mental strength comes in. You've just got to tell yourself you can do it. You've got to be able to talk yourself into it. You can't slow down. You cannot give up. Now is the time to say to yourself, I'm strong, I've done this in training, I know what I'm doing. And bang out those last 3 kilometres, those last 4 kilometres to the end of the run. Keep the same pace. Try and keep the same heart rate. Keep the same effort level going. Georgie's still with me. Thank you for sticking with me, Georgie. It's great stuff. Good work. So to get in under 2 hours, remember the time is wrong. It's 1:47 on the clock, but it's actually 1:42 in real time that I've been running. I'd already been on the treadmill for 5 minutes before, and we are just about coming up to 18 kilometres. Not quite yet. When it says 18.2, that will be 18 kilometres. And so that's 3k to go in about 20 minutes. So we should be able to do this. Might have to just speed up a little bit in the last couple of kilometres, we'll see. But Tom is asking about development kits to create his own routes. Create your own routes. You won't be able to create your own route. Create your own workout. You can already, if you're handy as a coder, you can already create, well, you don't even have to be a coder, just know what you're doing really. You can already create your own workouts, but Zwift is not an open platform, so you can't design your own course or design your own routes. You can manually create your own routes by pressing the keys when you're running, but you can't create your own route that comes up as a selection within Zwift. You can email support at zwift.com and ask them what the situation is with regards to open source development, and certainly the ability to create your own workouts within Zwift will come. You can create them by yourself in Notepad if you want to, and save it as a ZWO file, .zwo, and upload it into your Zwift workouts folder. That will create a custom workout for you on Zwift, but there will come a time when you can create your own. And I do believe if you have Trainer Road, you can create custom workouts in Trainer Road and import them into Zwift as a run. So that is possible. We are getting there, guys. Half marathon nearly done, not far off now. Just 2.5k to go. $1:45, 2.5k. We should be just about right, shouldn't we? You think? We've not slowed down much, we only slowed down to fix the microphone when it broke. So if we are running at 10.5 kilometers an hour, we should hit 21k in 2 hours, or on the clock on Zwift it'll say 2 hours and 5 minutes. Mirko says keep going. Thank you, Mirko. Training Peaks, you can create your own workout, not Trainer Road. Training Peaks, thank you, Mirko. So, we're back at the volcano now. Maybe I should have pressed the button and gone round some different parts of the route, gone and had a look at the mountain or the Mayan jungle. That might be nice. Beautiful view of the volcano there with the lava coming down. Heart rate still in zone 3. We've done alright there. I'm pleased with that. I was worried that towards the end of the run I might sneak into zone 4. You might find that in the Zwift Half Marathon Community Challenge on Sunday morning that I do creep into zone 4 because I'll have residual tiredness from today. But hopefully it won't be too bad. Georgie's still with me. Thanks for keeping in with me, Georgie. I should really learn your first name. Doing a great job though. 2 kilometers to go now. Just over 2 kilometers. And we've done our half marathon. Nice and steady, nice and easy, not pushing it too hard. Just keeping it steady all the way through, even splits, as far as we can. I'm enjoying this, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I love it, I love Zwift. I love running. I love it. I love the fact that this treadmill is just like running at a gym. And I just love the community feel of Zwift, you know. The fact that Georgie's running with me. The fact that you guys are keeping me company on Facebook. Alan's asking, any plans for Zwift to change Ride On as a kind of kudos thing? And Tim has already answered no. I don't think so. I think they will keep Ride On. I think it's, the thing is that Ride On, I think, is so established as a way to say well done in Zwift. And we don't really have an equivalent in running. I mean, we don't say run on in running. I suppose they also say chapeau in cycling as well, but we don't really have a running equivalent unless anybody knows of one, wants to shout it out and tell me. But I don't think we have a running equivalent. So I'm quite happy to stick with Ride On. I mean, they have changed the login screen. The login screen used to say let's ride, and now it says let's go, or you say ride on or something, I don't know, but now it says let's go. So they've changed that. So yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm quite happy to stick with Ride On. We'll let the cyclists have that, because we are coming and we are going to take over the world soon, the runners. So as the cyclists shrink more and more to the minority and the runners take over on Zwift, they've got to have something to hold on to, haven't they? So bless them. I'm joking. We love the cyclists. I started on Zwift as a cyclist 3 years ago, so yeah, I also consider myself a cyclist as well. We're getting there now, guys. Not far to go. It's been a good couple of hours. Good to chat. Nice running. Only one little glitch, a couple of little glitches. One when the microphone went off, and one when Facebook stopped streaming for some reason. But not glitches for very long, soon sorted. And we've had a lovely run. Thanks for joining me. Get your final questions in if you've got anything to ask. Don't forget, go to the Zwift Companion app and sign up for Sunday's half marathon. There's one at 11 AM UK time, which is 6 AM Eastern. And there's also one at 5. Is it 5 or 5:30? 5 o'clock. So 5 o'clock on Sunday UK time. It'd be great to have you along with us. And if we can stay together, all the better. I'm sure one or two people will speed off ahead, but that's all right. If the majority of us can stay together as a group and run for 2 hours, comfortable half marathon, like today, basically exactly the same pace as today for the B group, that'd be great. Right, coming up to 20k in 2 hours, but of course we take 5 minutes off, so with 54 minutes at the moment, so that's just over, yeah, we should be finished, we'll be finished by 2:05, 2 hours and 5 minutes, which would make it a 2 hour marathon, half marathon. Maybe we just want to speed up a little bit actually, because I can see we've dropped a bit of time, yeah, because it's 21.20, isn't it, that we want to get to. Sarah Brandis says she'll be chilling in Group D, just coming back from shin splints, horrible. And VLM in 4 weeks' time, yeah, Virgin Money London, oh, nearly went. Virgin Money London Marathon in 3 weeks' time. I'll be running that as well. Looking forward to it. 4 weeks' time. That's going to be great. Can't wait for that. Right, I'm going to speed up and bang out the last K, just to make sure we get it in 2 hours. Let's go up to 12. Come on, Georgie. Keep up with me, buddy. Let's get it done. Let's go up to 13. I love this treadmill. So we're now at 13 kilometres an hour just for the last kilometre, just to make sure we get in under 2 hours. I think we will. It's just me panicking a bit. I don't know, need to panic, is there? Why am I panicking? If you go back to the beginning of the video, you'll see I started on 5 minutes. So we have gone into zone 4 now because we're running faster. Just to finish it off. Nearly done now. I hope I've answered some questions about hydration, about nutrition, and about pacing tonight, guys, for your half marathon and for any distance race, really. Thanks for the ride in Lichfield. Nearly there. About 400 metres to go. Let's go. 14. Just keep relaxed, shoulders down, chest expanding to get good amounts of oxygen in, arms moving forward, head up. Minute to go. Less than a minute. Just going to be short, aren't we? Never mind. That's all right. 10 seconds to go. It might have been a bit longer than that, but there we are. There we are. That's a half marathon done. Let's just do a little bit more. That's it. I am done. Cheers, Georgie. Thank you for running the last bit with me, mate. Oh, yes. There we are, guys. That's it. So that is how to run a half marathon in around about 2 hours, with a little stop because my microphone died on me, and a little slow down because Facebook seemed to die on me. But we're done now. That was about 2 hours and relatively comfortable. If you can do that on Sunday, that'd be fantastic. You know, you want to be tired at the end. You want to be fatigued. But if we do it at a comfortable pace, I mean, if 2 hours is going to be a hard slog for you on Sunday, good luck to you. Thank you for doing it. But you will be tired at the end. But if 2 hours is a relatively doable pace for you guys, then you should finish like I'm finishing now, sweaty but happy and comfortable, heart rate not having gone through the roof, and having enjoyed it. And I hope to see you on Sunday morning. I will be streaming and leading the B group Sunday morning, and Amanda will be leading the D group, and they're going for 2.5 hours. And then we do it all again. Well, we don't do it all again, but the event runs again at 5 o'clock in the evening, UK time. So if 6 a.m. Eastern or 11 o'clock in the morning UK time is a bit early for you, then you can do 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday as well. That's it, guys. Thanks very much for joining me. Thanks for your questions and your company. Laura says well done, and well done. Georgie says she loved watching this, can't wait to check Zwift out. Won't be able to join this Sunday, but next time. Thank you, Georgie. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for your comments. Thank you, yes, thank you, Georgie, for sticking with me for, it was almost 10k, I think, wasn't it, Georgie? So that's brilliant. Thank you for Amanda for coming with me for a bit, and I'm sure somebody else joined me for a short while as well. So thank you. Alan says cracking run, very informative evening. Tom Sunday says well done, and Georgie. And Sarah Brander says thanks for this, glad it came up in my feed. That's brilliant, excellent stuff. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. We'll see you on Sunday for the half marathon. Do join in and watch the stream if you can't run. Sunday, Monday at 7:30, Wednesday at 7:30, Friday at 7:30 UK time. Saturday morning is often run in the park as well. So that's another one to do. You can either join in the run or you can watch the streams. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you again for another Zwift event another time. Take care. Bye-bye.